For 55 days, Ruth and I are embarking on an epic European journey, traveling to 8 countries, 6 of which are new for us. Our trip takes us from the whitewashed towns of southern Italy to the dramatic coastline of Croatia, and from the historical center of Athens to the sun-drenched islands of southern Greece. We then head north to the pastoral countryside of England and into Scotland, before having to cut our trip short. For while we understood the risks of traveling this time of year, we were forced to change our trip due to the hurricane that was heading right for our home in Florida. Travel doesn't always go right, but when it does, it is one of the most enriching experiences one can have. After a week exploring the whitewashed towns of Puglia in southern Italy, and a night in one of our favorite cities, Rome,
Real good.
we had an early wake-up to catch our flight to Croatia.
It's 6:30 in the morning. We had to get up at 5, and now we get to enjoy our last cappuccino in Italy.
A quick 1-hour flight, and we were touching down in Split, Croatia. This was our first time in the country, and we couldn't wait to explore it.
So we got into Split just a little while ago, checked into our Airbnb, which is super cute. We're hungry because we have not hardly eaten anything today, this morning. We have a walking tour in about an hour, so we thought we would come out and get a quick snack. We're eating it's called a borek, and they have different fillings in it. We got one with meat, we got one with spinach, they have them with cheese, potato, chicken. Delicious. They're like a stuffed flaky pastry. The spinach one kind of reminded me of a spanakopita.
We have generally shied away from paid walking tours, but as we knew so little about the city and it wasn't very expensive, we thought we'd give it a try. Our tour took us through the Old Town, which in fact was originally an entire palace built by the Emperor Diocletian between 245 and 316 AD. The last Roman emperor, Julius Nepos, was assassinated here in 476 AD, marking the end of the great Roman Empire. Today, Split is known for its football team, Sporting Hajduk, but is most famous as a location featured in Game of Thrones. Though being a small city, Split felt larger than life, with perfectly preserved buildings and those that are in ruins still maintaining their majesty. After exploring the palace, we settled in for a drink on the People's Square, before heading back out along the waterfront for dinner. Last night when we came here, it was super crowded. Now's the time to come early in the morning. There's barely anyone here.
Great time to come out. It's worth getting your ass out of bed early.
Getting up early made the city feel like it was ours. And we got to see the city wake up before having breakfast back on the main square. Good way to wake up in the morning. Our time here was short, but we left impressed with Split's history and character. Our next stop in Croatia was the island of Korčula. Located off the coast, about an hour and a half from Split, we traveled by ferry, soaking up the Dalmation coastal views and getting some much-needed nap time before arriving on the island.
We have arrived in Korčula and we have the cutest little Airbnb place. Has an amazing view of the marina, and we're having the same things we had yesterday. And I'm having a spinach one again, and Martin is having a cheese one.
And they are super delicious. Flaky pastry, yummy, and we got the amazing view. While taking a nap sounded good, we decided to check out the Old Town. Located on a strategic promontory, the medieval wall town was a maze of tight streets, and with every street but one having a series of steps to help slow down potential invaders. After the crowds and hecticness of Split, Korčula felt the right amount of sleepy. It also had some of the clearest waters we'd ever seen, which we had to dive into. We woke up to a rainy day, so we decided to do a wine tour. Korčula is known for its white wines, Gurk and Posip. Both a little acidic, but nice to drink. We visited 3 wineries, all small family producers who still employed many traditional methods in their wine production. Family business even means the kids play a role, and at our last winery, the son was particularly proud of his schnapps, though he admitted he hadn't tasted it as he was underage. The wines were okay to good. Maybe on a hot sunny day they would have been better, but the tour was enjoyable for the passion of the winemakers alone, and while being rainy, it was easy to soak up the views of the vineyards and small towns along the way. That night, our Airbnb host surprised us with tickets to a local folkloric show. The Mareska is an elaborate production involving 2 groups of dancers engaging in a series of mock battles over the love of a young woman. Although the dance was performed in many Mediterranean towns through the 19th century, now it is only performed in Korčula. And while it was performed entirely in Croatian, it was easy to follow and a fun watch. Thankfully, the weather was much nicer today, and we rented a car to explore the island. Stopping at viewpoints along the way, we drove to the heart of wine country to get a closer look. So here we are in vineyards all around Korčula, and these are red grapes. I'm not sure if, I'm assuming they make both white and red depending upon how long they keep the skins in there. Half of this field has already been harvested, back half isn't. But what we learned yesterday on our wine tour were that the farmers, winemakers, they own small patches of vineyards, grapes. They don't own the whole thing, and they just make enough to what they can bottle up and sell themselves or keep themselves. So in this one field alone, it's probably like 40 or 50 different landowners. So pick one grape off of the vineyards, and you can see it's a red grape. We'll try it and see. It's right by harvest time, so it should be pretty good, though. They're wine grapes, so I don't know if they're actually good to eat. Well, seeds, but actually really good. Yeah, they're really good. We hopped back in the car and made our way to the town of Brna on the south shore of the island.
So we stopped in this little town called Brna. Has this really cute little beach. Walked all the way down. Had a nice, quiet little coffee that we got from the market. Spent about an hour here just relaxing.
Brna is such a wonderful town. It's so quaint, calm. A couple cars coming in, but crystal clear water, beautiful cove, pretty stone buildings. It is really a nice place to relax. We made our way down the coast to Pupnatska Luka Beach. Located on a quiet and protective inlet, the beach was a perfect crescent with crystal clear waters.
It's pretty awesome.
It was the perfect place to lay down our towels, enjoy the view, and cool off. I know I said Aperol spritzes in Rome can't be beat. Nothing is better. But this is not bad. Croatian beer in Korčula on the beach. As much as we could have stayed for the rest of the day on that beach, we wanted to check out the eastern side of the island. Our first stop was another beach, Vela Prinzda. While not as pretty as Pupnatska Luka, it was worth a quick swim. Our drive back to our Airbnb took us through more vineyards and the town of Lombarda before reaching a stunning viewpoint overlooking the town of Korčula. On our final day, we did a kayak tour around the northeast coast. The water was calm and warm, and there was just a slight breeze to keep us comfortable under the late summer sun. We paddled along, admiring how the dark green of the shoreline was perfectly offset by the clear aquamarine waters. Our guide Mislav shared what it's like to grow up on Korčula and how living on the island makes him the envy of all his friends who moved away. We stopped at several protected coves to swim, snorkel, have a snack, and as well as to soak up the beauty of this wonderful island. It was soon time to head back, and while our shoulders were a bit sore, we loved every stroke, while also looking forward to cocktails. We went to Bar Massimo, located at the top of one of the towers in the city wall. Being a tower, the only way up was via a ladder. As the top of the tower was just seating, the drinks came up by a unique basket pulley system. The views and the vibe were great, and we settled in for a few rounds of Aperol spritzes.
Asian sounds pretty tasty about that.
Right? After a short 1-hour ferry ride, we arrived in the Croatian city of Dubrovnik. Dubrovnik has been a bucket list place for us, ever since we saw a picture of it back in the mid-1990s. The perfectly preserved city walls, the old town, and its position on the dramatic coastline looked like nothing else we had seen before. Our Airbnb was up on a hill, which meant two things: lots of stairs, but also amazing views over the city. Crossing over the city's drawbridge was like stepping back in time. It wasn't hard to imagine that the same streets we were walking on were the exact same that citizens walked on hundreds of years ago. Not much had changed. We headed down to the harbor to catch the sunset behind the city. As dusk fell, the town was buzzing. People eating dinner, out for a stroll, and reveling in the city's lit-up monuments. For dinner, we ate at a restaurant just outside the walls. It was a fusion of Italian and Croatian and was really good. Full, we called it a night knowing we had a busy day ahead. As we like to do, we got up early to explore the town before the crowds and the tour buses arrive, as well as to see it get ready for the day. Dubrovnik's history is scarred by war, and physical scars remain today. The city has endured centuries of battles with everyone from the Venetians, the Ottomans, and the Serbians who all lay claim to the city. In the early 1990s, after the fall of Yugoslavia, the city was under attack from the Serbians and bombarded relentlessly. Hundreds of citizens died, and many buildings were damaged and or destroyed. But the residents defended the city, and it did not fall. Today, Dubrovnik is invaded daily by Game of Thrones fans, as the city served as the setting for King's Landing.
Shorn of secrets.
Got our cheap cappuccino and the yummy looking apple strudel.
As it was hot, we headed to Banja Beach just outside the city walls, where we spent a few hours relaxing in the sun.
From our Airbnb, it's probably about 100 steps down to the first road. Then we have to go down another, I don't know how many steps to get to the actual walled city, Old Town. But hey, it's like a constant stairmaster.
Going down is easy. Coming back up, a different story. Much harder. One of the best things to do in Dubrovnik is to do a wall walk at sunset. The walls encircle the city and are 1.2 miles long, providing epic views of the town below as well as the coastline. Like the rest of Dubrovnik, there are a lot of stairs. Thankfully, there are bars strategically placed along the way for thirsty travelers. You're like my St. Pauli girl. Yeah. Dubrovnik.